What is he learning?
Well, it's been an interesting approach that he's used, hasn't it? Making lots of changes, trying to suss out his squad, have a look at everyone, give players a chance. And we've seen that with his lineup changes that we'll show you on the big screen here. So over the course of his first 5 games in charge, he's made an enormous amount of changes, hasn't he? So 22 changes to his starting lineup in total. So from his first game against Ipswich to the Europa League game against Bodo Glimt, there were 6 changes to the lineup. He then made another 6 changes against Everton. Obviously, they beat Everton 4-0, so you might think, well, maybe he'll stick with things there. But he made another 6 changes against Arsenal and then 4 changes for the game against Nottingham Forest. So he has made a lot of changes, and I think this is partly about trying to suss out his options, but also get the players up to speed. You know, he wants a full squad of fit and sharp players, and this is all part of that process for him, I think.
One of the talking points was improving on what they already have and getting the best out of the players that are already there. But we had the news this week that actually Marcus Rashford could, in fact, be allowed to leave the club. I mean, how much of a surprise has that been? And what also do we think we're going to get for him?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see, isn't it? I mean, he started well under Amorim. He scored, of course, in the first game against Ipswich. He scored twice in this game against Everton that we're seeing, but he hasn't managed to keep hold of his place in the side since that game. He's been on the bench against Arsenal, on the bench against Nottingham Forest, hasn't really been able to make an impact in those games. And overall, his output is still way down on where he would like it to be, which is what we can see with this graphic here. So the bottom row there shows us his goals per 90 minutes for this season. That's down at 0.37 per 90 minutes. Now, that's obviously it is slightly higher than some of these previous seasons, as you can see, 2021, 21-22, 23-24, but it's still a long way from these really strong seasons that he had, which was 19-20 and 22-23. He scored 17 goals in both those seasons. He was averaging over 0.5 goals per 90 minutes, and he just hasn't been able to replicate that kind of form on a consistent basis. So that's what we're seeing. And I think another issue for him is the kind of chances he's getting now. So if we look at his expected goals as well as his actual goals scored, we see a lot about the quality of chances he's getting. So again, these 2 seasons here were the ones where he was really getting himself into those scoring positions and you know, generating really high numbers for expected goals, 0.65 per 90 minutes in this season, and then 0.48 in this season. Now, what we're seeing in the current campaign is a really low number there, so 0.16 expected goals per 90 minutes, which is lower than any of these previous 5 seasons. And that just reflects that he's struggling to get into those scoring positions and threaten the opposition goal as much as he would like. And these are the kind of numbers I think that Manchester United will be looking at when they assess who might be available for transfer and who they might want to move on from. But we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah. We're wondering what's going to happen with the style of play and how United are going to be formed under Amorim. One thing I've enjoyed, I think, is the fact that he's not afraid to make a substitute. He's not afraid to bring players on, which became hugely frustrating when Ten Hag was in charge. And it's this style of football as well that we're just starting to see. Do you think they are better to watch?
Well, I think what's positive for Amorim is that you can see what he's trying to do, can't you? I think that was an issue under Ten Hag, and there's been a change of system, of course, and there's been a big emphasis on increasing possession and keeping hold of the ball a lot better, and we can see that in these numbers here. So this is for this season, comparing the numbers under Ten Hag on this side to the numbers under Amorim on this side. So as you can see, the possession has gone up quite dramatically, hasn't it, under Amorim? It was 52.9% under Ten Hag. That was 7th in the Premier League. They're up to 4th now, 59.9%, so a really high ratio of possession. They're making a lot more passes per game as well, up from 6th to 2nd among Premier League clubs, 589 passes compared to 504 per game beforehand, and pass accuracy as well. You see on the bottom there, they've gone up from 8th to 3rd, so they were averaging, they were completing 84.8% of their passes before. That's now up at 88%. So this is positive for Amorim. He is, you know, they are showing signs of being able to dominate the ball, but these numbers don't quite tell the full story. So what we see in these next graphics here is that a lot of these passes are taking place in their own half. So Manchester United have made by far the most passes in their own half in this period since Ruben Amorim took charge. You can see that 1,463 passes in their own half, which is over 60% of their total passes. So they're struggling to get the ball forward and into dangerous places. And we can see that with the next graphic we'll show you now, which shows touches in the opposition box since Amorim's appointment. Now, the top three here, Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City, they will have more than double as many touches in the opposition box than Manchester United in this period. Manchester United down in 16th with 75 touches in the box, which is not anywhere near where they would like to be. And we've got further evidence of their attacking struggles in the form of their expected goals. So again, you see Chelsea ranking very highly here, 12.7 expected goals in these last 4 Premier League games. Manchester United down on 3.7, which is the third lowest total in the Premier League since the appointment of Amorim. So this just tells you the need for improvement in the attacking third. You know, positive signs in terms of how much possession they're having and how they're able to dominate the ball, but they just need to start turning that possession into goals.